In the rush to normal, use this time to consider which parts of normal are worth rushing back to. Such a great quote from Dave Hollis, and there's so much gold in what he's saying here. If you're watching this at the time of the release, we're in the midst of a COVID-19 pandemic that has been sweeping across the globe. Hundreds and hundreds of schools have been forced to close their doors, with thousands of children and families staying at home, many of them quarantining themselves. This is not an easy time. And while it's not an easy time and super challenging, especially for parents that are home with their young ones, it's also a great time for reflection, to really think about what are the parts in my life that were considered normal until now? And when this is over, because it will end, what do I want to go back to?
Hi, I'm Connie Wolshansky, mama of four and creator of the School of Excellence system. And I'm on a mission to help early childhood leaders build and sustain schools of excellence. So if you want to create a collaborative culture, build efficient systems in your school, and design an environment that can grow your team, then you're in the right place. In the last 15 years that I've been working in the early childhood field, I've become deeply passionate of helping leaders with their mindset, their skills, the tools, and the strategies to build their schools. So each week, I'll share strategies, advice, coaching, and inspiring interviews. I know that you want to create a ripple effect in your school and your life. So let's do this together.
You see, I'm living right here in Brooklyn, in ground zero of all the craziness that's happening. And while we're locked up in our apartment with 4 little kids, which is a challenge unto itself, I'm also taking the time to reflect on what are the parts of our life, what are the parts of our expenses and our personal financial budget that we consider normal. But when we go back after this, what is still considered normal? So I'll give you one personal example. When you live here in New York, many of us eat out and dine out, and it's a normal part of life. Now, with the last 2 weeks, having been at home the entire time and not gone out to eat, we were being a little reflective and saying, you know, maybe we don't dine out as much. Maybe we don't need to do as much takeout or whatever it is. Maybe that's not something that we should be considered as normal when we go back. Now, here's something that 100% will be from the first things that enter my house as soon as this is over, is my cleaning help. It's been beyond challenging and really, really hard not to have the help that I usually have as a full-time mom, as a full-time business owner and mom of 4 little kids. Having cleaning help is my lifeline. And not having that right now has been so challenging, and having to juggle all of these more pieces. And so you better believe that the moment that she can enter my house again, she's coming. But what's interesting is, let's take for a second here the angle of school leadership, right? There are so many things in your school that you may have considered as normal up until you had to close your doors, or if you're still open, operating at way lower % of enrollment and capacity than you were until now. So let's say, for example, I'll give you a couple of examples to think about. Maybe you had a certain amount of call-outs that you got per day or per week. And up until now, you were like, oh, it's normal. Like, that's just the industry. That's how many call-outs happen. Well, maybe that doesn't have to be your normal. And make sure to watch our episode that we did with Kirsten Brinson, all about her incredible strategy that she implemented on callouts and how that decreased her callouts by over 70%. Maybe you're someone who got interrupted all the time. So when you were in your office, maybe someone was always knocking on your door, or someone needed something from you, and you considered it normal that you were constantly interrupted and weren't able to do good quality work. Maybe that's not something that becomes normal when you reopen your doors again. This is such an amazing time to be reflective on, maybe I can put some better boundaries or some standards in place that will actually allow me to operate in even more efficiency and create even higher quality and excellence when we reopen. Maybe your enrollment numbers weren't where you wanted them to be, and you chalked it up to, oh, this is just the environment or the community we live in or the demographic that we have. It doesn't have to be that way. You decide you're normal. This is an amazing time to be reflective of your marketing engine and really think about, what does our marketing channels look like? Where do people find out about us? How can we bring in really great quality parents? What does our tour system look like? Do we have a tour script? How do we convert families? Maybe up until this point, you haven't had a solid onboarding. It's kind of like flying at the seat of your pants. If they had a heartbeat and a warm body, bam, they were in your building. Well, maybe you want to be a little more reflective on, what does our hiring process look like? What does our onboarding look like? I know that thinking about creating new systems or processes or standards in your school sounds daunting, especially when you're being bombarded with emails constantly. But there is time for that reflection if we carve out that block of time. And lastly, you may have heard yourself say this a number of times to yourself. I don't have time for classroom observations, or I don't have time to do one-on-ones. I have to take care of all of these other things. Maybe these next couple of weeks you tell yourself, I am the leader who meets with staff one-on-one. I am the leader who does classroom observations. I am the owner who does consistent daily gratitude for her managers and administrative team. You decide what your normal is. And now is a fabulous time to do that. So, while this time is filled with tremendous uncertainty, and a lot of you have that level of anxiety, we can replace that with reflection and with gratitude and with the right questions. Because we know that the choice of words that we use and the thoughts that we put into our head determine our reality. We can truly change the way we're approaching this small period of time, hopefully very short period of time, and use it as an anchor and as a catalyst for tremendous growth and opportunity in our schools. So today's episode, I want to walk you through a co-working session together, because I know a lot of times you've heard people say, oh, be reflective, or think about what else you want to do. I want to give you something tangible, because that's what we do here at Schools of Excellence. So I'm going to walk you through 10 questions to reflect on all the different pillars to sustain a school of excellence. Now, in our Directors Inner Circle and our Owners Only HQ, which is our 2 flagship programs to help directors and owners build schools of excellence, we have a much deeper diagnostic and assessment of how we assess all the pillars. However, today I'm going to pull out 10 of those questions to really help you be reflective. In the comments below, you can download the handy dandy PDF. So even if you can't work alongside us right now, download that PDF so you can take the time to write it out and be reflective on your own time. All right, so let's dive into the questions. Here we go. So question number 1, what do I want to stop seeing in my day-to-day management? So a lot of you operate your schools on a day-to-day basis. You are the operator of the day-to-day operations. Think about for a moment, what are some things that are happening in the day-to-day that you're like, you know what? I wish this wasn't happening. Take the time to be reflective and write that down. Question number 2, what do I want to see more of with the inner team relationships? So I spend hours on the phone with directors and owners every single day. And a lot of what I hear is them fielding and troubleshooting challenges and problems with their staff, or if you're an owner, with your directors and your administrative team. So think about for a moment, what would I like to see more of with my staff? Do you want to see them solving more of their own problems? Do you want to see them being more collaborative and engaging in good quality debate? What do you want to see? Question number 3, what do I want to stop hearing in my hallways and the environment? Many, many times when we're stuck in an environment, or we're in, not stuck, when we're in an environment for a long time, we become almost like it's just the way things are. Like, oh, I always hear that, or this is the way it always is. It's interesting because after spending 2 weeks at home with my kids, I started realizing certain parts of their personality or their languaging that they use that I never realized before because I wasn't spending as much time with them. So there's the pro and the con for each of those, right? So a lot of times you may be being reflective and thinking, okay, maybe I'm hearing too much gossip. Maybe there's a little too much sarcasm with some of my veteran teachers, and I don't want to hear that anymore. Write that down. Number 4, what do I want to feel? This is a feeling question. Feel more of when I walk into the school building every day. Imagine your perfect day. And when you walk into the doors in the morning, what are you feeling? What kind of vitality, strength, energy, mindset? What are you actually feeling? What do you want to be feeling like? Write that down. Number 5, what do I want to hear more of when it comes to staff taking initiative? So a lot of you have said things like, I want my staff to take more initiative. I want them to have more ownership. Well, what does that look like? What would you need to hear them saying that would tell you, yeah, you know, I'm seeing staff taking more initiative? Really think about that. These questions aren't meant to be answered in 5 seconds. I'm walking through them with you, but take the time to download the PDF and really flesh out your answers. There's going to be massive gold in your answers. And you're going to see how much opportunity there is for more quality and growth in your school. All right, question number 6. What do I want to think less of when it comes to accountability with staff members? Maybe you are spending a lot of time chasing down people for deadlines, or maybe you're constantly sending text messages and reminders for people to bring in what they have to. Or you're just doing daily check-ins in classrooms. You're like, hey, is this happening? Or is this happening? Or you're just doing a visual sweep. Well, think about for a moment, what do I want to be thinking less of when it comes to the accountability? What do you wish they were doing? They're like, yeah, I don't need to think about it. They've got this. Number 7, what do I want to see less of or more of when it comes to classroom observations? So let me break this down for you. Some of you may be doing classroom observations, and some of you may not have had the time or the system yet to actually do this. And in our Directors in our Circle, we actually have an entire classroom observation system, step by step from A to Z of how to conduct classroom observations. Now, for the sake of this question, maybe you step into the classrooms just to like say good morning, right? Everyone does that. And maybe you come in there and you're like, you know, I really wish I saw a little less of this. And it could be something as simple as, I wish I saw less clutter, or I wish I saw less of the teachers, you know, being distracted, and more of intentional play and engagement with the children, right? Really think about your center and maybe break it down by classrooms, like in your infant, toddler, preschool, school age. Like, what do you want to see less of and more of when you walk into those classrooms? Number 8, how do I want to feel when I go to bed at night, rest my head on my pillow at the end of a long day? Do you want to feel a feeling of, I got this. I finished what I had to do today. I made connections with my teachers. I did what I set out to do today. Or right now, are you feeling like just self-loathing or not confident or insecure about decisions that you're making? What do you want to be feeling like? What do I want to see more of when it comes to my retention with my staff? It's question number 9. And lastly is, what do I want to hear and see more of when it comes to staff meetings and one-on-ones? What do you wish staff came to you with at one-on-one meetings? Maybe you want to hear more wins, more accomplishments, more things that they're proud of, as opposed to just bringing you all the problems and challenges. Maybe you want to be more of that coach who's doing mentoring and guiding, and not just like, hey, gotcha, I'll go plunge that toilet for you, here I come. There's nothing wrong with that. But maybe you're doing too much of that, and you want to do more leading because you have so much to give. And I know you do, because you're the school leader. So make sure to download the PDF below so you could take the time to be reflective. Now, once you've done that, I'd love to hear from you. Join us in our free Facebook group, which is called the Schools of Excellence Lounge, and share your insights from this reflection. When we come together as a community to share ideas, we can reflect on what we want our new normal to be. Remember, we're building schools of excellence. And excellence is about choosing to show up better than we did 5 minutes ago. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you in the next episode.
If you like this video, make sure to subscribe using the bell so that you get notifications when we release videos twice a week.